Hello everybody, Brooke Waters from Stickmen Media, here as usual to stream the development of our game After the Light, our zombie survival horror game. I thought, because we're actually doing this stream today with Lincoln and Margaret, or Lincoln and Margaret, depending on who sits in what chair, neither of them quite here at the moment. I thought I'd actually start off by showing people the final result of doing the poster that we did with the zombies around the whiteboard. So that's what's up there now. Okay, so it's Lincoln and Margaret. All right.
Started without us.
So today we're just going to have a bit of a, as Lincoln would call it, a bit of a noodle around putting together an opening scene, a start
that's what we're,
level.
Yep.
If you like.
Yeah, this is the one where I guess, because we're trying to get out this mini build, we needed a loading screen and a title screen. I think this video was just creating a title screen. And from memory, this was quite it was one of those ones where I didn't necessarily have a huge plan. This is sort of about a third way into it before I realised I wasn't recording. But effectively here, I had just got my hands on a royalty-free model of just a gate, and I'm repurposing it in Maya to suit my needs. Effectively here, I hate hearing yourself. Hey?
Sorry.
Everyone hates hearing their own voice.
Not everyone.
Stream crashing.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Come on in. You should
Come on in.
You should be in the middle.
How should we actually organise this so we can fit you in?
We can go if we
And push it
spread
way
wider.
back and all come in together. Then we're all in there.
Need like an ultra wide cam. See 4 people. Oh,
Yeah, we're all in there. There we go.
So as I was saying,
So for those who don't know, EnterDreamland, Ken, as we like to call him. Or Boomer, I think, as he calls himself.
Yeah, something like that.
Just trying to confuse everybody.
Put everybody off the scent.
They'll never know. Yeah.
So, we've got some stuff to show you while you're here.
Okay, cool.
But Lincoln's just talking about setting up a start scene for...
I mean, hopefully this video won't be too boring, but effectively, what I was trying to do was make a title screen where when you first load, you're in a piece of the environment, but you're segregated from the rest of the environment. You can't physically get to it. So the idea I had in mind was a physical barrier that you can see through. A nice, easy method of that is something like a grate or a gate that you can see through. And I was going to put it at the top of the first stairs as you come into the first level, so effectively you can see through the grate and you get a hint of, there's something just beyond, maybe there's some zombie noises, whatever's going on. And I would take the existing map that we had for level 1 and basically chop off all the stuff we didn't need to save frame rate and all that kind of thing, and just have it quite dark in there, a couple of spotlights or something just to illuminate a bit just through the gate, so you get an idea, okay, there's something through there, and when I click play I'll probably be going there.
Okay.
So that's why I'm in Maya with this gate, playing around.
Have you had play in the game?
Yep.
You have. Cool.
Yep.
We need to show you some stuff. We've got some physics improvements, but you really need to see the weapons. They are the coolest things ever.
Yeah, no, I've started to see some of the progression of the weapons.
Yeah.
And
Have
some
you
of the
actually
other zombies as well.
in
but
the
no, I
VR
haven't.
and you hold them up to your face?
Yeah, no, I haven't done that.
Beautiful.
It's definitely nicer now that the weapons feel real, and the zombies now, when you shoot them, they don't just drop to rubber chicken mode on the floor. They've actually got physics and constraints on their physics, so elbow joints now can't rotate 360 degrees like they were before, and all that nice stuff. Anyway, back to the video. This is probably going to be the first bit's actually going to be a little bit boring, because this is where I was just canoodling with
Canoodling.
not canoodling, fanoodling.
Noodling.
Fiddling with the Maya model. Obviously, where I wanted to put this gate.
It's fairly high poly gate, that.
Yeah, but I wanted it to look nice, and I'm an artist, not a programmer. So
I suppose.
I
And
throw
it is,
high poly at everything.
it is a tiny level. There's no enemies and all the rest of it.
All that's really going to exist in this level is you're going to be in a little sort of enclosed alcove almost like at the bottom of the stairs, and you'll be able to see through this gate, and there'll be a lock on the gate, and the idea is you can shoot the lock. The lock will break, and that'll load you through to a loading screen, which will be a separate, not even a room, just an area with almost no lights, just a little spotlight, a couple of barrels, some models for you to look at while it's loading. That's a whole other issue to get that process working. I've had a fiddle with that. Still got to have a chat with one of our programmers and make it work properly. Getting the level streaming and loading is a bit of a.
So this is the constant battle between programmers and artists. Because artists like lots of polygons, lots of stuff to define their shapes really smoothly. And of course programmers have to make it all run at 60 frames or 90 frames a second for VR.
Yeah.
This video's at normal speed as well, whereas normally when we're streaming we'll have 4 hours worth of content compressed down by 400%. So will be a little bit slow, so we'll have to kind of talk a bit. Once I get out of Maya, it might be slightly more interesting. You'll see what I'm getting at. But for now, I'm chopping up the stuff I don't want off this gate, moving things around. Mainly because the area, what I was getting at is the area's got a low ceiling and it's quite rectangular. It's before you get into the cave, it's actually bricked, I guess you call it. So it's quite square. So the existing gate was quite high in the middle, and it would have looked a bit odd having sort of a cave entrance gate with big voids off to the sides. So the idea was to bring the middle down, still have some shape to the top of the gate, and that way it'll just look a bit more appealing.
The nice thing about that area, I have to say, because it's not in the story, it violates the story in some ways. But it really is nice looking up the stairs and seeing the graveyard outside.
Yeah, that was me going on a tangent that day, and what ends up happening is you're standing at the bottom of some stairs, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to be able to look up and see the graveyard outside, but I totally forgot that.
You come down via elevator.
Yeah, really what we should have is a big wooden rotating platform that's cog driven and steam driven, that you rotate down on this wooden platform, and then you're at the starting point.
Yeah.
So we can change that later after this mini build, I guess. It won't be too hard to change the bit behind you.
Yeah.
Hopefully this Maya bit doesn't last too much longer. We could always skip through a little bit of this maybe.
If you want to speed it up.
Because it's pretty boring watching people move polys around.
There you go. Play at 1.5 speed, which means we'll run out before the end of the thing, but yeah.
We could slow it down to half speed.
Well, we've got Ken here to talk to, so.
Yeah. I'll be filling. Get filling.
So how's your stream going these days?
Ken?
It's alright. I haven't been doing too much. I stream maybe 3 days a week now, and but yesterday I was helping host a tournament for a Australian University League. So it was their final, and they were looking for someone to stream it and to help cast it. So there's like commentate.
Yeah.
During it, so I did that.
I saw you going off at something the other day.
It was pretty fun.
I didn't know what it was, and we had to go somewhere. We had a meeting or something, and I really wanted to stay and
Windows.
watch.
It was the Windows update.
That's got everyone.
It stopped my so the Windows update did something to OBS, which meant that the you had to update OBS, but no one updates OBS unless you really have to. So I was like on two version ago OBS, and when I was playing it, Windows just crashed my computer. This little box would come up in the bottom over like my full screen application and say, one of your applications that is open, it looks fuzzy, and if you clicked cancel, it would close the full screen application, which is the game I'm playing, and then the box would go away. But then if you open the application again, the box would come back, like over the thing. And so
no.
I was like, I have no idea what was happening. And it happened to like a few streamers. And I managed to figure out what the problem was, but for like 3 hours, I was just like, I have no idea what is happening. And you just, the second time I did it, it just crashed my stream, and my computer just restarted. And I was like, I have no idea what is happening right now. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just going off at Windows. It was probably me just raging at Windows really hard.
We had the same sort of stuff here, so we got the update, and half the computers sort of couldn't get on the network anymore. So
Yeah, how great of the update is Windows,
fantastic.
right?
Yeah. And
Don't even get this. Oh yeah.
so
was-
to
was a
solve
rage
that,
inducing
we
day.
worked out on the computers that could get on the network. Somebody Googled it and found out, okay, if you delete the update, then your network works again. So we went around, we deleted all the updates.
Yeah.
That worked for most computers except Diego's, which crashed never to start again.
Really?
Without a complete reinstall of Windows.
Yeah.
So-
I think his was just bad luck, potentially, that he had a bad block on the hard drive. Just
Possibly.
At that particular point, maybe.
And my laptop was completely fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
mine's
laptop
fine.
was fine. Mine and a couple of the others also created a new drive that that was an E drive that didn't have enough space on it. So every couple of minutes, a warning would come up saying you're running out of space on E drive. So yeah, so we finally worked out how to delete E drive yesterday, but it still actually reserved the name somehow, because when my little plug-in drive now goes in, instead of coming up as E, it now comes up as F. So
I should be able to.
He's
should be able
still
to
there somehow.
Fix that by managed drives.
Okay.
Your disk management. You can assign a drive leader.
Yeah.
Should be able to do it in there.
Cool.
I think my rage was targeted at the fact that I feel like no one in Windows or Microsoft is going to get fired for these updates, which are just so against user friendliness.
See, I was just talking
No
to
one's
Brooke
gonna get
about
fired
that
for that.
yesterday. I was wondering whether there's a big smack on the hand and there's discussion about people being fired, or whether they just go around
They just
high-fiving
high-fived
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
They're just like,
Oh yeah, boys, did it again.
like, okay,
Woo.
how annoying can we make the updates this time? And then that's just what the team is focused on.
Yeah, that was a beauty.
Hell-bent on destroying me. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm thinking high fives.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad that you can't cancel or say no to the updates unless you pay extra money. And what the update seems to be really about, because the big thing that's changed on my machine is I now get ads before I've even logged in.
Yeah, no, I'm getting those as well. Yeah.
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 Wondering if we double speed this. Eventually,
No.
we do get past the gate.
We just keep talking about other shit
Yeah.
until it moves.
All I'm doing there for anyone that is watching the modelling is I'm just trying to finalise the shape of these two gates, get the two gates in position, and get them to a
Using
state
thousands of polygons.
to a state where I can export them as gate left and gate right. That way, in
Okay.
game, we can animate them from home.
Cool.
So
It is a nice shape.
Do you make half the gate and then just duplicate it?
Yeah, in this case, I did. Wow, in this one, because I was rushing it, there was a free asset that was a royalty-free one that I got, but it didn't quite suit, so it was more of a make this suit for what I want to use it for.
But yeah, frequently, even with characters, you often do half the character and then you duplicate it and then you make changes to the other side of the face.
Yeah.
Because good-looking characters do not have completely symmetrical faces. They've actually got to have some
Asymmetry.
some asymmetry. Otherwise, they start to look weird and you get that whole...
Is that why my face is not symmetrical? Because I'm good looking.
I
No,
don't
no,
think
you're good looking
Sorry.
because you're asymmetrical.
Yes, yes.
There you go.
Not sure the logic
chicken egg
works that way.
scenario.
But yeah, you get that uncanny valley thing
Yeah.
if you have completely symmetrical faces. People don't like that. Anything that eyes too far apart, eyes too close together, or whatever, when you're modelling, can really put people off. And it only has to be a fraction. For some reason, there's just things we detect and just...
Yeah, the human brain's really good at picking up like nuances.
Yeah.
Well, it's
So-
anything that's unnatural, isn't it? The nervous system doesn't understand, doesn't like.
The whole of the uncanny valley thing is the closer a character gets to looking human, the more we like it. So if we start off with cartoons and we like them, and you get closer and closer to human, and then it reaches some point where the small differences start to make a difference, and then those small differences can make you
I'm just
really not like the
Oh,
character.
yeah, for a second here.
So you sort of get this valley, and then you climb up the other side. As you fix those small differences, they start to like and like and like. So. But yeah, it's just crazy stuff.
So it's almost as if like.
Did you ever
graphics
see
improves.
Beowulf?
Yeah, Beowulf was the classic one, the Viking one,
Yeah.
where they're in those great halls and there's that.
Beautiful models in it.
The
But
movie.
some of them just a little
Beowulf
bit wrong.
movie, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a trailer. I've never watched the whole movie.
Yeah, some of them just a little bit wrong, and people reacted badly to it. Didn't
Okay.
like it. Basically, trashed the whole movie
because of that.
Yeah, just
Wow.
some things were just not right.
Yeah, I feel like that's what something you said.
Dead Eyes was the one in that because what's his name didn't blink enough. Beowulf himself didn't blink enough,
I'm trying to think
so he
of who
mostly
the
had
character
what
was.
they considered dead eyes. He was just fixed and not blinking.
The like more modern games that have quite like really good graphics for the time, but the human characters in it, because it's not that good, like you can still see the parts where the characters are missing, whereas like all the graphics themselves are awesome. It's just like those parts of the human characters are like, I can still tell it's not, not perfect.
Hey, we're getting better at discriminating too. I remember seeing something like Final Fantasy 75 or whatever they're up to.
Yeah, it's
Years and years ago, like back in 2003 or something.
When they only had 50.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 50, yeah, that's right. And the characters were so good, I was trying to work out whether they were human or characters or were models. And of course they are models, but these days I look back at that, so easy to tell.
Yeah.
So we've got way better at distinguishing models from characters now.
Mm.
Yeah. From models from people.
Yeah, I remember like when graphics were like the distinction when you could tell like a game was really awesome. So like I remember, I think like on the launch of Halo 3, everyone was like, "Oh, the graphics are so awesome in this game." Now no one really talks about the graphics. It's more about like gameplay and the content of games.
And to be fair, gameplay should always be what it's about, and the graphics should be that the special sauce, the extra richness.
Yeah.
I think it's coming full circle a bit because there are, like you said, there are some games coming out where they're purposely
It's like cartoony,
low res. Like even the idea of having a game that on purpose has mismatched stuff, like high poly character next to a pixelated one. It's like that movie. There's a movie where there's aliens attacking Earth and they're sending down games.
I can't remember what that's called. No, I know
You know the game I mean?
Yeah, I know the movie you
There'll be
mean.
like
is that
a
Adam
Space
Sandler
Invaders
thing or something?
attacking, and it's like
Yeah.
duk, 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 the original Space Invaders.
I can't remember.
And then after that, Zelda's running up the street, and it's much higher poly.
Yeah.
It's a really unusual concept.
Do you see the crossover with Fortnite and the Avengers? So Fortnite brought it. Have you seen the new Avengers movie?
Yeah,
I
I
haven't.
have.
I haven't seen it. So Fortnite and the Avengers, well, Marvel, had a deal, and Thanos was in Fortnite.
Oh yeah, no, I
So you
did
could
see a
pick
clip
up
on
this, you could
Facebook
pick up
of.
this glove and you become Thanos.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow,
And so you like destroy everyone, but
very cool.
Oh yeah, right. Finally,
Hey, we're out of
my. So you can see now I'm playing around. There's that area at the top of the stairs there where I want to segregate it off by putting the gates in. So to start with, at the moment those three barrels are actually kind of like level loading blueprints. So instead of just being a barrel, when you click on that blueprint,
So you shoot them, you load that level.
yeah, it'll spawn up and load that particular level. Obviously, it's kind of I guess it's placeholder art for now. The idea is to come up with maybe a slightly cleverer way to load these first three levels for the test build or the MVP or what do you want to call it.
Do you know about Armageddon?
yeah.
So we're actually going to be at Armageddon with the demo.
The Christchurch one.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
just so that people can have
I've never
an
been
early
to
play.
Armageddon before. It was something that I've always like wanted to check out, but I haven't been.
So I guess the plan is at least for Armageddon to have 3 playable levels.
Yeah.
I mean we've got a ton more levels, but just if you have any more than 3, you'll have one guy on there for half an
Ages.
hour
Yeah.
while there's a queue forming. So.
For a moment, I thought you said Farmageddon, and I thought that's a great idea.
Farmageddon.
Farmers in cosplay,
Oh,
That's just
that's not a good idea.
that's just field days, isn't it? Armageddon.
So is this the loading screen?
This is the title screen. The loading screen's a little different again.
Okay.
So, as a title screen, the plan is eventually to have on the wall some kind of large, maybe carved plaque that says, welcome to something or other catacombs,
Yeah.
whatever, something enter at your own peril, whatever it
Empire
says.
City Catacombs. Yes.
Yeah. And it's pretty simple. It's just that plaque on the wall. There's a torch burning just for basic lighting, the gates, and a lock on the gate. And obviously, maybe the lock's glowing to make it obvious that you have to shoot it. As soon as you shoot it, then it brings up the loading screen.
And away you go to level 1.
Yeah. So at the moment, you can see me there. I am deleting all those assets that are white. Basically, I would have imported the gates, and it's brought in default materials, which I don't need.
Okay.
And having a quick look at one of the gates, there's some weirdness
Out in the
going
daylight,
on.
so you can see the sun on it.
Yeah, and just seeing if it'll work, and throwing. At the moment, you can see it's got world grid material, that grey sphere at the top right, which is sort of the default. So finding a material that'll work with it, and playing around with. And this is a tricky one because it was like I didn't have. It's not like I'd sat down with a pen and paper and gone, right, the gate's going to be exactly here. It was more fluid than that. Get the gate in the scene and see what I could do with it. Right, back to my.
Yeah.
I think
Carry on talking.
I think I realised that hadn't taken the hinges with it.
Mm.
So I'm re-exporting it with the hinges, I believe. Export it, right, and then pull me back across to Unreal once I've exported that one. So the other thing to talk about here probably as well is that at the moment what I've done is basically that's the environment for level 1, which is actually quite a big environment. It goes right down another set of stairs into the main cave, and it forks off into a Y-shaped cave, and at the end of those two straights there's another elbow bend just to seal it off. So there's actually quite a lot of geometry there
That you want to delete.
yeah, so I'm not sure if you'll see it in this video, but what I do eventually is once I've got the gate in place, I play with the lighting and darken it right down and make it so that you can just only really see about 10 metres past the gate, and then anything beyond that I start just pruning. Just deleted a whole lot of stuff.
Oh,
Cool.
that's hard on the brain, isn't it? When it moves like that. Ugh.
And that right there I'm looking at, there's some other gates that are on the slightly lower level, comparing them.
So after all that work in Maya, you're thinking, maybe I should change it.
yeah. I think what I'm actually looking at is the materials. Remember I said that the gate that I imported is using a default, just a grey material. So I'm looking at these little bits of
We ended up
fence.
with a gold colour one, didn't we?
Yeah, so you'll probably see me up here clicking on that box there, trying to find a material that'll work for the gates. It's still, I'm still not super happy with the material, but for now, until there's a polished pass, it'll do kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So I've been going through that courseware on this stuff on Unreal. And I have to say it's pretty good. I'm anxious to actually have a play.
The courseware or just
Yeah,
Unreal, you mean?
lynda.com.
Yeah.
Lynda and Udemy, they've both got Unreal content.
Yeah, I might have to look
I'm
into
just
it.
watching the
'Cause
Lynda one.
thus far, I've pretty much, my entire Unreal knowledge is out of YouTube.
Well, the keyboard
And-
shortcuts is one of the things that you really pick up on in the video, and
That's what I find are the best tutorials, like that one I spent yesterday doing all the physics on the characters, and I found one really good tutorial where it wasn't even a professional, like from Unreal, from Epic Games or whatever, where it was an official one. It was just a guy who'd done it off his own bat, but he took the time to actually explain what he was doing and why, which some of them forget to do when they're doing a tutorial.
Like here, for example, trying to find where the bottom of that gate goes. If you just lift it above the ground and press the end key, it'll drop to
Snap.
Have
it'll actually drop to the next surface below it.
you ever played around with game development, Ken?
No.
Never had the
No,
inclination?
I've done a lot of video editing, but I've never done game development.
This can be a lot of fun, Jermaine.
Yeah, it doesn't look as simple as video editing.
And at the moment,
never
there
found
we
video
go. I
editing
mean,
all that simple.
It's a lot of drag and drop stuff.
Well, see, I don't find video editing very fun. I just have to do a lot of it. So, but this looks definitely more complicated.
So there, I'm looking at positioning. I'm thinking, okay, if because it's our game, the character doesn't get to move around the scene. Maybe at a later date maybe you can teleport around the VR environment, but for now it's VR and you're standing in one spot. So a lot of it is about positioning and composition. Like you'll probably see me eventually. I'll put the player start. See there, I'm just testing how it looks, and it looks very dark on this screen.
Yes.
But there's a torch there. I can kind of see the environment. Obviously in VR it looks brighter than it does on that screen at the moment.
Screen, yeah.
But I'm testing. I'm looking up the stairs there, going, what am I going to do with up there? Do these gates look good? How am I going to integrate them? Obviously they're going to need pillars that they're hinged off. How am I going to integrate those into the scene? It's quite a bit of just like trial and error stuff. Eventually what I think I did was sampled some of the existing walls that I had, which I quite liked, and bring them out. Screen's frozen. It might have been coffee time.
Well, let's skip ahead.
Yeah, maybe fast forward it. Right, there we go. Back doing something.
We're still running at 1.5, so we will finish early.
It's okay, we've got Jackson here to fill in.
We do.
Do you have a list of names?
No, Nigel. We.
Just coming up with them.
Yep, well, that's your name, right?
Yeah,
John?
Jackson.
Why were you named Lincoln? Lincoln? It's not a normal,
Don't
usual
know.
name.
Apparently I was going to be a Linda. I was a surprise.
Right.
So I was like, shit, what do we do from Linda? And I took the first few letters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, no. I think because my father was a farmer, there was a breed of sheep called a Lincoln. Maybe he had a girlfriend
Ooh, yeah.
on the farm. I don't know. There's also Lincoln University, which I think when he was younger, went to Lincoln University.
Oh, there's all sorts of...
One of the farm courses.
My dad was a farmer. I was born on Brooklyn Farm, so I was named Brooklyn. That was just easy.
Yeah.
Lucky for you, you weren't born a couple of years earlier.
A couple of years later, I would have
later.
been called Blackwattle Flats. That
Waddle.
Doesn't really have the same ring to it, does it?
Not quite. Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably tomorrow's stream might be slightly more interesting for the viewers in terms of screen content, because playing around with the physics stuff is quite
getting
fun.
the physics stuff working. But I have to say, I got in there to have a look at the physics stuff today and sort of, oh yeah, that's very nice. And then I saw the weapons and went, holy cow, they are really beautiful. Because the physics, there's not much you can do to make physics fantastic, because the physics, if they work right, they just work right.
Yeah.
You can't make them work better than right.
Yeah.
But just the amount of detail on those weapons, I was absolutely stunned.
I think because it's right here, like you can have quite an amazing environment and very detailed, but game players might not necessarily see all of it anyway, if you know what I mean. Like just around the corner there might be this amazing piece of geometry, but they're not going to see it, so what's the point? But
well, we're not supposed to do that. We are supposed to stop when there's
yeah, you know what I mean.
something I can't see.
Like an environment, you could have a 360 degrees of awesomeness, but they might just look over there and then exit. They've missed out on the stuff that was behind them. Whereas the weapon, it's right here. It's the first thing you see. You tend to pick it up.
Actually, it's one of the things about VR is the VR games are going to be more expensive, simply because there's no geometry you miss out, because the people can see everything. They can turn around and see every corner and every
that's what I do when I'm in VR. I make sure that the developers didn't skimp on anything, so I look under everything. I always like lie on the ground and like look up to see if they like just missed the bottom of some physical objects.
And if they
So,
did,
so we should
and if
I'll
they
tell
did,
them.
we should like
excellent.
write notes underneath things. Like,
Exactly. I was wondering.
Stop looking here, you douchebag, or something like
I
that.
was wondering if there were going to be any Easter eggs like that for
Yeah.
people who were just like trying to find the parts where they.
There so
where
should be.
Like, yeah, they could have just like.
We'll leave special notes for you. Marvin, why are you lying on the floor?
Yeah, exactly. Get up.
Most of the Easter eggs so far are minuscule, though. There's a few in there that I've seen Sergi put in. Which are,
Wait, so there are Easter eggs?
yeah, but they're mostly sculpted into characters, not so much the environment. Yeah,
Yes, there are Easter
but
eggs.
they're very
and
small.
Unfortunately, when you're running game development, you can't stop it short of sacking everybody because everybody does it. They stick things in.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Do you have a list of them?
No, I'd have to
No.
ask Sergi.
We'll have to compile a list, I guess.
Some of them are very abstract that you have to look at it at the right angle and kind of have the right headspace to go, oh, I see what you did there with those two circles and
Yeah.
that's
Don't want to give any of them away.
no. Okay, you can see, as I was mentioning, that I had to fabricate a way to basically hinge these gates. So I'm sampling that, basically just clicking on a piece of that wall geometry and just pulling it out, duplicating it, pulling it out, and looking at extending that wall. And it's a little bit of a faff because there's actually not just one piece of geometry there, there's two or three that are overlaid.
Yeah, that's looking complex.
Which was the way there's actually a stone wall behind and there's a small mesh in the front, so this was kind of, I won't say cobbled together, but maybe the French sense of the word coblade. Anything French sounds fancier.
For sure.
How do you say cocked up in French?
Faux pas? Is it French?
Yep.
It must be. Yeah, and I kind of find that the whole process with VR is quite unusual in the sense that as soon as you do something, there's immediate feedback. You can, or I find that I tend to be forever going like this, doing something for 30 seconds, doing this. But I quite enjoy the process because it is so immediate.
Would you like actually to do that, to be able to just drag that stuff around in VR?
Yeah, that is the next step, and I believe you can do that, but we haven't. It's something I'd be keen to try. There is a way of actually doing all of the repositioning and scaling inside VR using like a little arm palette. But before we didn't have the touch controllers, so I had no way of testing it. But I need to actually try that. I'll have to check on whether there's a plugin you have to install or how that works. But you can do all of, instead of doing what I've been doing, sitting and looking at the 2D screen and then going back in, you can literally stand there. And I think it's like you hold a button on one hand and it brings up like a palette where you can use your other hand to tap on something like scale, and then you point at the object and kind of go like that, and you can literally just grab meshes and just scale them, move them, drag them around.
Yeah, we tried to plug it in Unity, didn't we? It just didn't.
So it was a plugin.
Yeah, well, that was in Unity rather than Unreal, and it did not work that well. So
no, I should try it because it might, whether it speeds up the workflow or not. I guess it's like anything. Probably to start with, you'll be tripping over yourself and not quite sure what you're doing. But if you got fluent with which things they're doing, it's kind of like using a.
it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like predictive hand movements on modern phones, until you know to go like this with your fingers to stretch things or pinching and to zoom in, you're kind of lost.
Yeah.
I do like this ability to move walls around though. That seems like a nice thing to be able to do. I'd like to be able to do that in real life.
It's like home decorating, really. That's all VR is, VR game development.
It's a special fucking home you got there.
So there, I've pretty much nearly finished bringing in the 2 extra sections of wall so that we can have somewhere to hinge these gates.
Now, I can tell you're still bothered by up the stairs at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
It's the first place you look,
right
even though
there.
you're adjusting that wall, you're going, well...
Yeah, almost every time I'll probably look to my right and go, what am I going to do up there?
But I know you do solve the problem when it's very
Yeah,
nice.
originally I had a long-standing problem, and I've probably mentioned this in other streams, where normally when you're standing right in the doorway and you're looking outside and it's very bright, it creates these weird lighting issues where you can get the configuration right so that when you're looking into the dark area, you can just see enough, like your eyes adjust and you can see the 5% of lighting, background environment lighting that you've got, that you can pick out shapes, which is kind of what you want for a cave environment. And then you turn around and look out a bright doorway like that and you're blinded and you can't really see anything out there. So it's a tricky balance. And in the normal caves I couldn't quite get it to work right, but here it turned out slightly different because looking through that doorway, through the gate, I'm not so worried about picking out fine details. All I'm planning to have down there is pretty much darkness and a couple of point lights so you can make out, oh, maybe there's a flickering flame and maybe there's a coffin that you can just see or something.
Yeah.
That's about it. So the majority of the focus for the lighting will be up the stairs. So in that case, this one actually turned out to work. I had tried before to set up a scenario much the same as this, but it really sucked because I got it looking good outside, but as soon as you turn around and looked into the cave, it was way too dark.
Yeah.
And if I adjusted the lighting so it suited looking into the cave, and then you'd look outside and it was way too bright. So it's like, you couldn't quite win.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was got by good planning or good luck. For some reason when I did this one, it all fell into place better. Something about the way I set up the sky sphere seemed to work better. Back into Maya. Oh no, this is the bit where I realised I forgot the hinges.
You're unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking forward to playing this one?
He's got to say yes. He's right in front of you.
Well, that's, that's the way to actually get that. I guess you're an explorer in games, Jason.
An explorer?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, there's
There's a
various
player
gamer types,
type.
and various player types, and explorers basically try to find everything that there is in the game.
Oh yeah.
Including the fuck ups.
I think one of my favourite games ever was Halo 2.
Mm-hmm.
So when Halo 2 came out, there were I think I played through the campaign maybe one time just normally, and then we learnt about the ability to grenade jump, and you can get outside of the map, and so you can walk around. But then you found that it was actually designed that way. You weren't breaking the game at all, and there were Easter eggs outside of the map, and so they were like skulls, and if you pick up one of the skulls, then it changes part of the game. And so I spent countless hours just trying to get outside of the map and find all these skulls. It was 13 of them or something, and that's what I find awesome when the game developers have a lot of fun with the.
What did you visually see outside of the map though?
So it just looked like a lot of the time it was just a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Or maybe some very low detail buildings. So buildings without any really nice
Test stuff, probably early development test stuff that they
yeah, and then
left off the side.
there'd just be the skull sitting just in a corner or something, in a undetailed corner. And you pick it up and then it changes. It changes the way that you would interact or something about the game.
That's what we need.
No, I knew you were good.
Golden skulls.
Yeah.
High poly golden skull.
But that was really cool. That was back when Halo was good as well. Now Halo sucks because Bungie sold it to 343, and 343 is a bad company who doesn't care about the games. Well, Bungie had a lot of interaction with with their consumer, and like they cared about the parts of the game, like everything, the story, everything. And then 343 came along, bought it, and they were just like, let's make money out of their customers, and so
monetize it.
yeah. Well, I don't think Bungie didn't. I think Bungie still made heaps of money, but
Yeah.
they just ended up selling, and then 343 was like took it in a different direction.
Yeah, I remember telling everybody about this great game I used to play on the Mac called Marathon. Absolutely loved Marathon. I thought it was
Wasn't Marathon made by Bungie?
It was made by Bungie, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually realise that till the other day, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, that was Bungie." Oh really?
Yeah.
That was great. Great story to it, and I think that always makes it for me when the story in the thing.
Yeah, the stories in the
really
games were just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's funny how there's certain games stick in your mind. I always remember there was a game, I can't even remember much of the gameplay, but Full Throttle, which was like, just had a really unique styling to it. It was almost not quite cartoony and not quite 3D. It was like a bikey one.
Andre O says Dreamland's name is Jason.
Dreamland's name. You'll never know my name, Andre. You'll never know my name.
Do you like taunting your viewers, do you, Victor? Hello, how are you doing?
They don't believe my name is Boomer.
They don't?
They don't.
They don't? Oh, wow.
They're trying to expose me.
Does it look like a Gary? Maybe a Gary.
Snail-like features.
Yeah, SpongeBob Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, I hate SpongeBob.
It ended.
Oh, what a terrible
It
shame.
ended. Like they
It's
announced
ended?
Yeah, they announced it like their last episode or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank God. I
So-
am in a minority, but
So putting
fuck, I hate
putting
SpongeBob.
Hasselhoff in your movie didn't save it.
Yeah.
Nothing could, honestly.
At the moment in the video, we're in what you call Cascade now, which is the particle effects editor thingy. But basically, I am tinkering around with that light source, thinking. You can almost see my brain
Cool.
working.
Enjoy lunch.
I'm looking back and forward between the door. You got bright, cool lights behind you up the stairs. We need something down here, but what is kind of doing my head in is, okay, that corner looks nice, but what I really need is I kind of need the gates to be the focal point.
Yeah.
At the moment, when you look around that environment, I guess there's two focal points up the stairs and that corner where the torch is,
Yeah.
the lamp. So I think eventually, is that frozen? Eventually I do end up moving that torch over next to the gate to try and bring some light over there.
No light at the moment.
I don't know whether that had just frozen.
Hey,
What's
he's
going
gone
on?
to lunch, Greg, so we can start.
Yeah. Use my real name.
Exactly.
Tony.
Okay, Patrick, if you insist.
There you go, we're back into a test level.
So all he has to do if he wants to find out your real name is go through 50 hours of our content.
Yeah. Exactly. There you go. There's the Easter egg. You can find my real name. It's somewhere hidden in the YouTube videos. How is things catching
So this
on
is
fire?
a little break, is it? Where
How things catching on fire, so you shoot the
quite
the
often-
barrel.
the barrels, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
And they go on fire, and then eventually they blow up, and everything else goes on fire.
So we're going to have barrels of gunpowder and barrels of lamp oil.
Yeah,
So
except
you
the
can have
lamp
burning.
oil. I did try. I made two textures for the barrels.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, one was sort of two different colours and different graphics on each barrel. One was lamp oil and one was gunpowder company or whatever. Which
Acme.
are actually in the game now. But the idea was that visually you should be able to look around and go, oh, that one's gunpowder. If I shoot that one, it'll burn and explode and take out those zombies. and maybe there was a different behaviour to the lamp oil, but visually the problem is just around lighting. Most of our caves, it's just the lighting is so low that any barrels that were further away than about 3 metres from you, you couldn't really make out the graphic or the colour. It just faded. It was too hard. So
here you are playing at the end again. This
was possibly showing someone, because what quite often happens is
somebody comes over and says, "Hey, can I see where we're up to?" Now we're back to the gates.
What I'm testing
and
there...
that's usually me going in.
I know why it's freezing.
Play.
I know, yeah, I remember now. Remember the 3 barrels level loaders. So if I look at that and shoot it, what it's doing right now, the reason it's frozen is it's loading that level in the background. The whole game is just frozen, and in the headset it freezes until such time after about 30 seconds.
That's
the level's loaded and it comes in.
So that's taking us to the new level.
Yeah.
Where once again you'll stop and have a bit of a play.
Well, what I was testing was obviously the loading, but once you get there you might as well shoot some zombies.
It's a terrible distraction working on a game that works.
After this video I did spend a day or so playing around with the level streaming, and it's not quite there yet. The idea is that you should have running in the background of that first level, there should be the loading level, and it's sort of resident in memory, and potentially the first level as well, the second level, so that by the time you shoot on the lock on the gate, the loading screen is already in memory and it's just sitting there waiting to be used. So as soon as you shoot on the lock on the gate, once I add it, boom, up comes a loading screen, and it's obviously a loading screen. It says loading in big letters, and there's nothing else to look at. It's just a dark room with a couple of rotating 3D models or whatever. And while you're looking at that loading screen, it's streaming in the background loading the next level. To try and avoid the scenario of like that, where you shoot
the big pause,
you shoot the barrel, everything freezes. It's especially bad in VR, because when you're in a headset and the screen freezes,
you turn your head, it's not really pleasant. No.
Not a nice sensation.
Because it's no longer responding to your head, so it feels like you want to fall over or something.
Yeah, it does kind of throw your equilibrium out a little bit. And now you can see, like I was saying about lighting and how am I going to distinguish these two areas. I think this is actually the beginning of where I started trying to work out the whole outside area. I start bringing in some point lights with a slight blue tint to them. So you'll see as I go, I'll be looking up the stairs probably in a second. It's probably jiggling because I'm trying to get the headset on.
Do you find that streaming the work that you've done helps like reiterate on why you do particular things?
Yeah, definitely.
We also discover mistakes when we're doing this, and that's a really interesting part of workflow we've never had before. We just looking along and somebody goes, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
Yeah. And this bit here, what I'm doing, there's still a lot of geometry there that's unneeded, because this is just past the iron gate, so this is the area you look through into. But what I was doing there was grabbing a light source, that burning torch, and bringing it to an area where I know it might cast a little bit of light just beyond the gates. And obviously it's probably lucky that I had this on the unlit view. So now if you could see properly just through that gates, you can see an orange glow straight in the middle there, and that's from that light that I just dragged into position. And I'm just trying to create, beyond those iron gates, a sense of interest. Instead of just having a black room there, and all it takes is just a flickering light, or a point light, something.
End up going with ambient moonlight or something back there, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I threw in like a moonlight god ray thing that was just sort of,
which is sort of appropriate for the level.
I mean, if you wanted to save on frame rate and all that kind of stuff, you'd just stick a simple point light there and it would do the same job. But because we're going for crazy beautiful or scary beautiful or whatever, scary beautiful, then it's the little things that make the difference for that, and it tends to be the subtle difference between a point light and maybe a flickering light.
So if it's moonlight and you look out the tunnel, is it daylight out the tunnel?
It's kind of moonlit.
Yeah. So
although the lighting, the colour isn't quite a perfect match at the moment, but that's just an issue I had.
In the first levels, it assumes you're close to the surface of the ground, and there's holes in the ceiling where you actually got moonlight streaming through.
I think of them as
That's
rabbit holes.
Rabbits go.
We need zombie rabbits.
Yeah. Rabbits go all the way down.
Rabbit zombies.
We should bring in the rabbits.
The rabbits come in, but they can never get out.
We should combine the rabbits with After
I love
the Light.
those guys.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the rabbits?
Oh,
Are
they're
the rabbits
still around.
on?
Yeah.
I'm watching Netflix all the time, so I guess I don't get to see those TV shows
Oh,
anymore.
No,
the
you just
rabbits is that cartoony one, eh?
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a game. It's a French. Yeah. It's a French game.
It looks
And then
like
turned
it
into
would
a
be
game.
almost made by the same people who made the Minions.
Yeah, only it's funny. Fuck, I hate the Minions.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, the Minions is all sort of like that whole French thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let me just
'Cause
find
I
out who
saw
made
a-
rabbits.
I saw a documentary on that whole.
No, you're thinking of filet mignons. That's the French.
Well, the Despicable Me was made in conjunction between, I think, a US and a French studios.
Oh, okay.
And that's how the Minions evolved. Originally, they were just going to be normal characters, but because something about the way they were doing the workflow, they got the French guys to do. I don't know whether they modelled them or whether they just did the voiceovers. And one day they were on like a Skype meeting, and the French guys started having an argument in the background, and the guys in America were like, "Oh,
That's awesome.
these two French guys going, you know, the way the Minions act," and that's how, like, the strangest way that the Minions evolved. Originally, they weren't going to be speaking their own little sort of French-sounding dialect.
Okay, Andreas is back. He says, okay, I'm back. This room looks pretty cool. There we are. Got some praise. Hard for you to see on the screen, I know. It looks a lot less dark when you're actually in virtual reality, but
So the rabbits were it's a video game franchise spin-off from the Rayman series.
yes,
Yeah. So it's Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
Yeah. So initially known as part of the Rayman series of games, the popularity of the characters aided by various viral videos and media appearances led Raving Rabbids to become its own separate franchise, rocking the Rayman name of 2009 Rabbids Go Home, as of 2009's Rabbids Go Home.
Cool.
Oh, that'd be brilliant in here.
So the bit on the screen at the moment is what I was saying before. What I've done is moved that torch closer to the gate, and because there's kind of these natural relief and shapes in the walls, I actually experimented with embedding it in the wall and just using it like a torch, like a medieval sort of wall sconce torch or whatever you want to call it. It didn't quite work how I wanted, because it looked interesting, but it wasn't quite the look that I wanted. So eventually I moved it out of that wall and down onto the ground. And
There's
but
a
you can
lot
see,
of noodling around.
You can kind of see where I was
Noodling.
going. With that light source there, it starts to illuminate some of the bars of the gate. And that's all I'm trying to achieve at the base level. All I'm thinking about is
To get people's attention on that
as
gate.
focal points. It's just like a 2D painting.
Yeah.
The key to a good painting is focal points. You have something that grabs your attention and draws your eye in. So as simple as this scene is, it's just some light source outside and a light source here. It's a case of getting the one that's close to you in a position that it drags your eye to the gate.
Yeah.
And you naturally go, oh, okay, there's a lock there, maybe I have to shoot it.
I've tweeted it as niddling. It means it's niddling.
Okay.
Niddling?
Niddling.
Yes, your noodling has become niddling in Margaret's mind.
No, it wasn't me.
Well, no.
Lincoln said it first, and it all became very concrete after that.
Canoodling's a whole different thing, isn't
That's a
it?
different thing again. Yes.
Yes, yes. That's doing something weird with pasta.
Remind me never to come to your house and eat pasta.
Yeah. No kidding. Oh dear. Okay, well that's shut everybody up.
No, yes, I think once again we probably should set this to 13 plus at least.
Not unless you actually do the weird thing with pasta actually on the stream.
Okay.
Actually, you can see now that what I've reverted to now was, and again, this is sort of the evolution of the environment. Now I've got a sconce on each side of the gate, and what I'm trying to do is get enough light flooding onto that gate.
Yeah.
And it's still not quite working. And now, obviously, right there, I've just pulled the sconce out of the wall and put it back on the ground again. I'm probably very close to throwing my toys out of the cot, because at this point the scene's not quite working how I had pictured in my mind, which is sometimes what happens once you actually start using environmental lights. And I'm
What about a cheeky overhead thing that just...
yeah, and that's kind of the kind of cheats you do revert to is maybe just have a shaft of light that's breaking through somewhere, and a spotlight, and just illuminate it.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what software is used to make this game? Is it Unity 3D? No, it's Unreal.
Unreal.
Yes, Unreal Engine. That's what we're actually working with there.
Version 4.18.
4.18 for you guys.
Did Jim?
Yeah.
4.19.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. We will go back to our previous previous image for that screen,
This was
which is a planning session we had when we were.
Did
yeah,
we stream?
the
we
zombies
streamed making this,
totally
didn't we?
disagreed with us on how we did level 5, the umami level. They were pissy about the whole thing, so we had to sit here and go through it with them.
So that image was done in an hour, really. Oh, a little bit over an hour, because I did a tiny bit more after the stream. And if anyone wants to see it, they look through the stream history, they'll find. How long does the stream stay online on Twitch?
Well, they
Depends
seem
on
to
if you
disappear.
have, do you guys have your videos? You can change it so that your videos save
Save.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
for
didn't
like
know
30
that.
days. So
At the moment,
The
what do
past
ours
streams
do? Do they stay there for?
So
you guys
every-
upload them on YouTube.
Ours are gone like I think your video lasts about 14 days,
and then it just
Okay, so
and then
yours-
it's gone.
yours stays
But
there.
we actually save them on YouTube.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
No.
This
So do
particular
you
image,
manually
though-
do that?
Sorry?
Do you manually put them onto YouTube?
Yeah, we manually put them
Oh,
onto
yeah.
YouTube afterwards.
This particular image, though, I would like to get my hands on.
Yes, yes. Let's take this image and well, I can give it to you right now.
So
That'd be marvellous.
it's not uber polished. I'm quite happy with how the guy on the ground came out. The other guy, he's not super polished, but it's enough to get the idea across. For anyone that hasn't seen that stream, it was basically a photo that was taken, and the goal of the stream was to try and photocomp in some of our existing 3D models. So they were rendered out of out of Unreal, and spliced into Photoshop into a 2D image.
Yeah. And I guess the thing that we needed, well, we sort of fixed it up later, but one of the things we realised was we had to get the lighting the same in both the zombie images and as it was in our photo. So that
For future reference, if we were trying to do this, you try and change the lighting, but office lighting is just a nightmare. Fluorescent tubes just don't, especially when there's so many of them, it doesn't give a chance for nice shadows and having highlights and that kind of thing.
which is sort of the idea, because it makes the work environment nice and bright and easy
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
everything. But yeah, I like the whole story behind that. Just arguing with the zombies over designing level 5. He's clearly got some issues with.
He's clearly got some issues, yes.
I really hope everybody likes level 5.
The zombies don't.
No.
No, well, they
He's
take a
looking-
beating in
Yeah.
level 5 if you do it right.
Well, yeah, look at the guy on the floor.
Yeah, he's not happy with
Well,
the
he's
way
not
it
happy with
turned
level
out.
5, no. He's got good reason to be really fucked off.
Why is he complaining? He doesn't have to clean up the floor. What a mess. Yeah. Well, maybe we should continue the stream at your desk, Lincoln, so we can...
We could do that. We could jump over there and give a snippet of the physics.
yeah, we'll show Rachel some of the...
Hey, they're gender neutral names now, you know.
How much time we got left? There's time on there.
It's cool that I came to visit. I might want to pursue this as a career. Not sure yet, though.
Cool. Follow this as a stream. I mean, follow our stream.
Follow this as a stream.
Yes. I don't know what I was
Follow
trying
the
to say
stream.
there.
No.
I do know what I was trying to say, which was please follow this stream. You'll see lots of interesting stuff that we
No.
get to do on
Fuck
game
no.
development.
Alright, so what are you going to do now? You're
So
going to...
are we?
Yeah, we'll go over to your desk and
So do you have
continue.
to kill the stream here?
I'll
and
kill this when you're ready to press your button. and
Press
then-
my button.
But don't go away because these guys are going to be right back.
Yep.
With Julian.
Julian.
Yeah.
Assange.
You do look like a Julian.
Julian.
Yeah,
Do you think so?
I do. Which is not really surprising since it is your name, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Nathaniel.
No, that definitely does not work for you. No, can't make that stick.
Okay, I believe I'm ready to...
Alright,
He's ready to rock and roll.
we shall stop the
Stand
stream
by.
here and you can start it over there.
There you go.
And there we go.
Right, that looks better.
Alright.
Bingo.
Okay.
Right, so what am I doing? I can probably show this level quickly and then have a look at the physics. If I go, let's just go play on here.
Cool. Want to put this on Magnus?
Yeah, actually.
I'll grab your chair.
Magnus.
Magnus Carter.
This is just a test level, so it's not super fly or anything, but it's got a lot of the characters in it. So if you tap that button once you're in there, you just tap that button to bring your weapons up, and you can toggle between different guns in each hand, and then just shoot real easy. Cool. These are nice to use.
There we are.
So this is just like a test area where I have set up some of the characters. The king at the back was jumping up and down.
Do you want to give him the...
Yeah. That one goes on that hand.
So press the top right hand button and that will give you your gun.
Yeah, your arms will feel a bit funky because they're not locked.
The arms aren't actually connected to your body yet, so don't worry too much about those. If you just press those top right hand buttons.
Top right hand buttons.
Or top right hand button on this one and the top left hand button on this one.
Oh, okay.
So if you do it on each hand, you can toggle between crossbow and pistol.
Now turn them sideways and have a look at just have a look at the pistol as you fire. That barrel changing actually, rotation seems a little... Actually it was working better earlier.
It doesn't quite go the full rotation, eh?
Okay, so we need to fix that up, but can you see how detailed those... I know, yeah, we got to fix up that rotation. That was working better before.
I think
That one there is...
Stuck.
Looks like it's jammed.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. A double headshot. You can go gangster on it too. You know how gangsters do the sideways shot.
Gangsters.
Pop a cap.
Pop a cap.
If you look to your right, the barrels. Yeah, you found the explode.
Hold up, where's the other button on this one?
Front trigger, your index finger.
No, how do I swap this into a crossbow?
You got to change this one first, and now you can change the other one.
Can you only have one crossbow?
You can only have it in one hand at a time.
Okay.
He won't die because he's just a static mesh. He's just in idle pose.
Okay.
He's just sort of breathing, standing there.
So can we put him in a level now? With those
Which level? Just trying to think.
They didn't go full gangster in the end level.
We'll go to the end level. Yeah, be 1 second just while I load it.
I'm like Dr. Manhattan now.
Map
What?
Background.
How can it see my thumbs?
That's trippy, eh?
Yes.
The touch controllers has got sensors that can actually sense.
What?
Oh, you're in the. Yeah, I know. You're in like the base room, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it can't do all the other fingers, can it?
Yeah, it can pick up grab sensations. Like if you pull the front trigger, like you're squeezing the whole grip, it'll do like a fist.
Yeah, I see.
You can make a fist.
Wow, that is insane.
Yeah,
I haven't used these yet.
Sorry?
I haven't used these yet.
Yeah.
I saw you got them.
Yeah, that was a big day.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to turn your weapons on because this is going to...
Now, when you shoot one of these barrels, you'll get a chain reaction because there's a lot of them. At the moment, these levels are just spawning one zombie, but eventually, obviously, there'll be some randomness to it.
This, when you're actually going flat out with those two guns, is what we've come to call double gun badassery.
There's lots of cool stuff you could add. Maybe
Endless bullets.
if you fire so many bullets within a certain time period, the barrel starts glowing and smoking.
Do they run out of ammo?
At the moment, no. You've got unlimited bullets, and there's about 5,000 zombies in
Wait,
this
these are
room.
different pistols. Are these different pistols to the
Same,
ones I was
same pistol?
They didn't
Same.
look wooden before.
Oh, the lighting's probably a bit better in here.
Okay.
Yeah. They would have looked uber shiny.
These look way different now.
Yep.
The textures look a lot
The first test level that you're in is very bright lighting, and this is the lighting it was designed for.
That's we were going to have that as the way to quit the game, but we decided we probably wouldn't get that past ratings.
Yeah, does the rating go up quite considerable?
I'd imagine so. I don't think you're allowed to actually show.
Maybe I'll load, because I'm just thinking the Twitch screen will be quite dark for people to see.
I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
They just keep coming. They won't stop.
What was that?
They won't stop. There's like, it'll just keep spawning up to 5,000 of them. You'll be doing well to clear the screen. I'll load another zone, niches maybe. What's that? Niches for 46 rings a bell.
That is so cool. These hand controls are awesome. So are your hands going to be able to do all the hand controls?
At the moment, the controllers are at sort of, I guess you'd call it early development stage, but
Yeah.
there's a potential to add all that stuff in.
Yeah.
It could be that you can literally, squeeze or your fingers could move around the pistol. Are there any zombies coming on this one? Oh yeah, they are coming, just not many of them, eh?
I have no idea which way I'm facing in real life. Which way is the computer screen?
Straight ahead of you.
Okay, sweet.
So you got them disoriented.
This always happens when I use VR.
There might be a slight bug with that level, because they should be coming at you. They might not be sensing you. I'll load a different one, the ramp.
That crossbow is awesome.
23. Actually, I'll put you at the top of the chasm, because that's just fun. 1 second, remember what level. 9. Weapon number 9.
Yep.
Don't forget we've got the class coming out 3.
3. Okay. So what do you think, Randolph?
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, right, this one, if you have a look around and look down, you'll be at the edge of a big
Yeah,
drop.
I've been in this level before.
Oh, casual. Bang. On this one, you won't actually have the reticule. You'll have to use that iron sight once you've got the arms attached to the body. So
Yeah, that will definitely
Crossbow will just
make
have
it
an
way
iron
more
sight.
challenging,
Yeah.
yeah. Because at the moment, you just move your arm until the dot's on and boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of the reticule.
Yeah. But as soon as we've got the arms on, because at the moment the arms can get in the way, so the reticule sort of helps you out.
The end of the crossbow is kind of hard to see. So like I can see the golden iron sight, but it's hard to match it up with the.
Yeah,
Well, actually, it's probably the red light that.
it's distracting you, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that we'll have to fiddle around with. Seeing what other levels there are, otherwise I can show the physics stuff briefly.
That is gangster.
Yeah.
I'll load the ramp as well quickly, which you might have
How
already
loud they are.
you might have already played the ramp, but
Well,
23.
You shoot them while they're up there, you can watch them tumble down the back.
It does need one of those like Looney Tunes sounds when you're falling.
Whoa.
Hairy arms.
Yeah. Bigger arms than me. Did she explode?
That's what it looked like. I thought she just went bang and disappeared.
There is a slight. Well, it's not a glitch. It's just the way the radial damage works. But if let's say there's a barrel here and there's a row of zombies, the first zombie will take all the impact, and the ones behind it get protected.
Oh, okay.
So that's.
We don't mind that as long as it's not fully protected.
Well, at the moment it is. It's fully protected. The ones behind won't receive any damage. So, but that's something that I guess at a blueprint level we'll be able to.
Yeah.
To finesse.
Yeah, as she's affected by physics, she should transfer some of that.
But you'll see that there might be 4 of them standing quite close to like 10 barrels, but the one who happens to be standing behind the others does not get killed.
Yeah.
It's just.
Is this automatic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
if you look at the string reloads. There's no animation on the chamber yet, but that's like a drum at the bottom full of bolts.
Yeah. And what's going to happen is that's actually going to be a slow reload, so it's going to be a great silent weapon, but
Slow it down.
it doesn't fire fast like the pistol.
And there should be like a little jet of gas come out of the canister at the back of it between reloads. So the end of the stock, if you can look past your arm.
Hey, I can look inside it.
Yeah, you put your head right inside it.
So now this is where you put your Easter eggs.
Your Easter eggs inside the chamber.
Hello, Simon. We knew you'd look.
And there will be a rocket launcher as well. I keep saying rocket launcher. A grenade launcher.
Yeah. So one area effect weapon.
So do the controllers have? What is this going to be made for controllers, like these controllers, or is it going to be made?
It's going to work with the Oculus Touch controllers, with Xbox controllers.
Yeah.
Keyboard.
Is it going to be like
Keyboard
feedback?
and mouse? So you should be able to play it in any of the traditional manners.
Is it going to be feedback, like vibration?
At the moment, the vibration is on there, isn't it? Is it?
I don't know. Is there vibration on those things?
They're not vibrating at the moment.
What about when you shot the barrels that were close? Did they vibrate?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you actually have to send them that vibration. You actually have to.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been programmed for it yet.
Yeah.
But I have felt them vibrate. I
What does that
can't remember
mean?
What's that?
What was that?
Some sort of
symbol?
manufacturer's stamp, I think. That.
It almost looks like the Transformers symbol.
Is that one of Sergi's Easter eggs?
No. It's a way more phallic and obscure.
Oh, what does it say?
ND4563 has special significance.
Is that your password?
No.
Definitely not.
In high school, we had a relieving teacher, and as mean as schoolboys are, she was rather ugly, and they didn't call her Miss whatever. I can't remember what her name was.
They called her ND4563.
Yeah, because that was the number of the truck that ran her over. Schoolboy humour.
Yes.
She never really got it when someone would call her ND4563.
She didn't have the time to.
No one explained to her that it was the license plate of the truck.
Yeah, write down the license plate. So does this arrow? Is that the arrow that fires?
Oh, that's a glitch at the moment.
It's a glitch. It should be inside.
Yeah, it should be inside the chamber, and it should. You reckon it was firing the bolts?
It is firing the bolts. You can see them hit off.
Is that the line trace, or is it the bolts?
I think that's the line trace.
Yeah, I think it's the line trace.
Okay. When Linda did the animation, I saw the bolt actually
But eventually it will throw the bolts, if not doing it already, and that bolt won't be sitting on top of the surface.
They go so fast it's hardly worth showing the travel except for, as a line, as long as you stick the bolt into the zombie at the end.
That was cool.
Those,
Running away from the zombies.
I definitely think those touch controllers, the experience is just so much better
Yeah. No, definitely.
than
That
using a
feels
keyboard or even a game controller.
awesome.
The actual sensation of picking your hands up and controlling it.
When we've got our demo, we should get you to stream this.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'll be keen.
Yeah.
Merged them.
He's merged into one super gun.
Do they work upside down?
Yeah.
We need a
Like I
level.
said, you can hold them sideways, gangster style,
We need a level.
They work better.
We need a level where you're in like waist deep water,
Yeah.
and you can shoot underwater.
If you throw the controller, not that I'm going to, but if you do throw the controller, does the gun spin all the way around? For the fancy shooters out there?
Oh, you
Should,
mean,
while it's within
you
tracking.
mean
you
like
probably
trick
should.
shots where
You know how like they spin the
spin the gun
pistol?
on their finger?
Yeah. That'd be the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I feel like the controllers wouldn't be able to take it.
You might be able to.
You could probably
Animate
if you did
it.
animation,
Yeah, I was
and you
thinking.
just detect the flick,
Yeah.
like downward then a flick.
Yeah, a strong enough flick and it does the spin animation in front of you.
All right, there's an idea. Put that on the ideas.
Well, how do these things vibrate? Because if it had like upwards vibration, so it felt like recoil. So like,
Yeah.
if I shot, it kind of like forces your hand.
The
to
one
time.
thing I think Brooke was saying we've got to watch is if we had rumble every time you shot the gun. If you have a level where you're shooting like 1,000 zombies,
Yeah.
by the end of it, you know how when you're using
Burn
like
batteries.
an orbital sander,
Ah.
you get that horrible vibration in your hands.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah, to blow up the batteries fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon controller down.
Yeah, if you do that, then it will do
So,
like a 6-shooter revolver spin.
Oh, wow.
yeah, so you go.
So if
Well,
that
like
happens,
that.
remember it here. Lyle actually suggested it.
So if you went like that,
Yeah, some kind of wrist flick motion would make them.
Well, that's stupid. I meant Kyle, of course.
Larry.
because like, do you reload in the game?
Eventually we will reload, yes.
That's just
Cool.
it's a case of another animation being made and implemented
I reckon you should get an extra point if you do a spin after you shoot a
after
zombie.
each zombie.
Yeah.
You've got to go shoot, spin.
That would be
shoot,
cool.
Spin.
It'd be one of those achievements. You shoot 5 in a row and then do the spin.
I think that'd be
Because
great.
it would add difficulty, you know. There's like less reaction time to kill these.
And yeah, I really wanted to have sort of different tiers for completing levels, so you can just get through the level, but then you can actually get through it in style and get more points. And
Yeah.
you get like a couple of stars.
Absolutely. Style points with a game that's supposed to be beautiful, scary. Style points
I'm
matter.
just going to load you another level.
Oh,
It's a different one. Chasm. Oh, the underground stream, which is level 13.
Sort of like golf, you have a par.
12.
So each level has a par. And then
Just trying to show you different areas. I don't know which ones you've already seen or not. This is the underground river.
Why not? Zombie golf.
There's not actually that many zombies spawning here. They'll come across that log downstream.
Is there a way of disarming so it's just my fist, or just my hands?
I
once
think
I press the
once you
button.
turn them on, it's
They're on.
one or the other and,
Right.
and not off. Yeah.
Yeah, so now they look shiny again. You can't really see the wood. I think in low lighting. Well, but in saying that, the other one it was like quite high lighting.
What it is some of the scenes have still got. When I was setting up the environments, there might be a point light directly above your head.
Yeah.
Yep. If you hold it up, you'll see reflection. You probably can't see it if you look up there, but there'll be basically like a point light, maybe half a metre above your head,
Yeah.
and that is giving a bit of high reflectivity.
It's cool seeing the different like reflective qualities of the textures.
Yep.
Yeah.
So on the gun, different parts.
Yeah,
the metal
different
is a lot
materials
more
have
shiny.
different reflection.
And it does look like wood. So
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
how wood reflects in low light.
Yeah, because these are PBR,
Yeah.
basically physically based materials out of, crikey, what's that software called that Sergi uses? Substance. I keep forgetting that.
But yeah, so Unreal's doing the physical based rendering. That's the PBR. But yeah, the materials out of Sergi's substance back, it's just all set up for it.
So how long until the demo comes out?
So the 6th we are demonstrating at Armageddon,
6th of June.
6th of June. So if anybody wants to come along to that, come along and come and see us, come and have a play.
Will you have a booth?
Yeah, so we'll be on the NZGDA booth.
And it'll be, I think, 3 levels, just
Yeah.
enough playtime for someone to have a bit of fun for 5 minutes and then kind of let the next person have a go.
Yeah, we don't let you have 2 crossbows, unfortunately, because they interfere with each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll load the top of the boss cave. It's interesting, you'll get it.
Oh yeah.
At the moment, this cave, don't shoot the floor yet. The floor's it's a destructible mesh, that whole floor panel, that circular floor panel. When you shoot it, it doesn't explode, it fractures, but it kind of explodes outwards and reveals a big chasm below you. So
don't shoot right here.
Not yet. As soon as you shoot it, the floor will vanish, and they'll all fall in the pit, and you'll be floating in free space. Yeah, here we go. You ready?
So does that do it?
It's going to explode it. Unless I changed it. No, I didn't change it.
Whoa.
It'll look horrible because it's a lot of frame rate drop. And
Whoa, she's holding on.
She does not want to die. Put her out of her misery.
Let's go.
Yeah, got rid of the fear there.
So now, because you're not touching the floor anymore, the zombies can't see you effectively because they need to integrate with the nav mesh to find you. So they'll still walk around the mesh above, but because you're floating effectively, they can't see you.
So should we go? Have we done down the bottom? We have done down.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bottom.
Can go back to somewhere like the
So Andre Osh wants to know: is there a
32
particular
maybe.
code you must learn to get into this type of work?
I know nothing about coding, but then I am
In this work?
yeah. I mean, I'm a 2D artist, but
Yeah.
I've kind of evolved into this role just by the fact that I'm interested in it, and
So one of the
circumstances kind of evolved that I ended up doing some of it. But
One of the nice things about Unreal is the artists, even though they weren't coders, were able to do a lot of the interactive stuff because of Unreal's blueprint system, which is a visual coding system. So you sort of drag out, things that represent variables and things that represent classes, and you drag lines between them.
he's got the motion down. There'll be a bunch of them right behind you because you're on a ledge, and genius.
Does that actually work? So if I shoot behind me?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
it should
work.
be because it's just raycasting. I think you got them. They're just around that corner. There's a zombie spawner, and they'll keep coming.
So wait till some come out, then turn and face forwards, shoot over your shoulder.
I find it quite satisfying to make them go hurtling off the cliff.
So shoot
If you wait till they're on the edge and shoot them in the foot, it tends to make them go sideways off the cliff. It's one of those ones that's probably extremely dark for the Twitch people to see, but
Yeah.
when you turn up the brightness, it makes the VR experience kind of.
My arm is dislocated?
Oh, what's happening there is you've turned around and you're not facing the sensors anymore.
Ah, okay.
But if you, kind of do that. Because by the screens which are directly in front of you on each side, there's a sensor. It almost reminds me of when you see like little kids with a cowboy hat on and those little cat guns.
The Milky Way kid.
The Milky Bar kid.
Milky Bar, yeah. Damn it. Will smoke come out of the guns?
Yes, there'll be smoke out of the guns, there'll be steam out of the canister for the reloading the crossbow.
I'll go to another level, so I'll just tap escape. Once you shoot it, and go forward to, I don't know, 39. What's that one? Where's that? It's a random one. This is still inside that one massive cave, but you are now, where are you? You're probably on the other side of the cave.
How do you reload? Where, do you have to reload this?
No, it's just infinite bullets at the moment.
But will you have to?
The idea is that bottom cartridge, the drum, would pull out.
Oh, really?
So in theory, we could have an animation where you drop in another cartridge or cylinder, drum, what are you going to call it? Which bit's this? Yeah, I'm trying to think where you are. Is there a green doorway behind you? Or
Just there.
a load?
It's quite loud.
Yeah, it does get a bit much after a while, doesn't it?
Well, it's just, if you were saying anything, I couldn't hear it. But no, they sound good.
I'll load number 42. 32, 42. This is in the green zone, which is kind of bioluminescent, but there's a little hole in the floor in this level that you can try and shoot them into. So
Hole in the
so
floor.
just
That one there.
yeah, it's like a pit, but I've got to rejig this level. The idea is that you would try and lead them into the pit. We were just trying to come up with different gameplay ideas.
How you doing, Sam?
It's quite hard to get them in that pit, but if you let them queue up in front of you,
Didn't you?
yeah, wait till they're all like queued up right in front of you. If you're lucky, you can knock one into the pit. It's like, do you shoot them in the foot or the arm? That one went in. Got him. But it's getting the angle right. It's quite tricky.
I feel like you could just put your gun over like here, because it feels like
That works.
the
Because in theory, that's line tracing. It should
yeah.
eject the physics on the other side of the character.
No, but I would. Expected behavior. So this is from 1 to 25. So this one, as soon as you start forward.
But you kind of imagine it when you take away that the targeting reticule,
Yeah.
it'll be quite a lot harder.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. The target really
I
helps.
think with the crossbow there'd be a much less hip shooting. You'd have to actually look down the sights.
No, that makes it, because when you are at the beginning it's fine, but I'm in the middle.
Is there a way of turning them off right now?
25 is so far, 1 is so far. So I'm
Not
gonna-
quickly.
Okay, so
I'd have to faff around for 5 minutes in the blueprint and try and find where to turn it off.
Cool.
I'll load the playground again just so you can see the other, which is the most brightly horrible lit, but you can see all of the
Yeah, but that means you will need
all of the characters at the moment. Like that skeleton guy, he's supposed to be holding a sword in his hand, charging at you, but hasn't got the sword mesh there yet.
So there's all the characters?
There are more characters, but those haven't been implemented yet. But they'll, like the guy, for example, the one just in front of you to your left, that would be him. There's about 7 different variants of him wearing different clothes. Yeah. And same for the female one, the one at the very back. There's a bunch of different variants.
That's the boss, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you can see the one that's actually dragging the sword, walking sideways. Yeah. See how the sword's not actually in his hand properly? It's because it's just been, for now, it's just been placed there.
No, we didn't.
Crudely.
We discussed it in the wrong way. We haven't. It was an option.
So there's still quite a lot of finessing to go.
Yeah.
I guess the Armageddon version will just be the 3 most polished levels we've got in whatever state they're in. There might still be stuff that's a little bit crude.
What shadow is on him?
There is a point light that I've placed in the scene.
Oh, is it moving?
No. If you have a look at him again, I think what's happening is his horn is casting a shadow across. There's a point light literally right beside his head, but you can't see it. I just dragged the point light in the scene. This is just like a crude testing room.
Man, he won't be that easy to kill in the game.
What I can do actually, if we exit out of here, I can show you the physics on that King Leon, for example. It's actually quite amusing to drag them around.
Okay.
So if you want to take the headset off, and I'll take those. I'll just swap the chairs and I'll bring up the physics, and you can drag them around. It can be quite enjoyable.
Oh, you just completely
Let's go
forget
to
that
the
you're
zone.
in real life, don't you?
Is this real?
Exactly.
So that king, for example, you can see here we've got the mesh for that king. And there's a skeleton asset for him. There's an animation asset where at the moment it's just his idle pose, just standing there. You can see
So
the
that was the one
character
like behind me.
yeah. But if we look at the physics asset, it's set up like this, which I just did this morning. But we can simulate in here.
So are each one of those like balls part of the like a center of
effectively.
mass or something?
Yeah, like a physics capsule. So like this bicep, you can see it's actually connected to his left arm bone.
Yeah.
And it's a capsule.
And there are
And it's
constraints
got
between
constraints.
them, so you can't turn your elbow that way.
I can actually simulate just that selected piece, and you can see, right, if I hold this key, I can drag that and check that he's not going to break through areas. Like it goes through the top of there slightly, but it's not too bad. But basically inside that constraint is set over this side, the 3 axes. So at the moment it can only move on this axis and this axis by 30 degrees. If I turn on this other axis and set it to something nutty like 90 degrees and we go simulate, it doesn't look much until I drag it. You'll probably see that that 3rd axis might be rotation. You can see how the arm is actually rotating in the socket in a weird way.
Yeah.
So we'll get
Don't
rid
do
of, get rid of that. But if I get rid of that to normal simulate, right?
Do any of them have their neck axis allowed for 360 motion?
Yeah,
Shoot them in the jaw and turn their head around.
by default,
That'd be pretty cool.
by default, every single axis was totally free movement. So when you shot them, they dropped to the ground like a rubber chicken and just went.
I remember that.
Yeah. So now, actually, you can play with this. If you hold the control key and just the right click only, you can basically play around with them, test his physics, lift him up and drop him.
It's a very common.
Quite satisfying.
360 by 640.
Right click.
Just
And
the
control key.
and hold down right click and you can drag him around.
I'll hold the control key. That's my job.
One of the physical size has nothing to do with it.
This will teach us smash.
Because, I mean, that could
So
You see that? You see this
a good
statistic
way.
part come out now.
It's a good way to test the physics. Oh, I'll show you one other thing. If we let go of control for a sec, we can maybe we can go turn off that.
So this is fine to test it. So
Let's
if I
go
add one
no
more,
gravity
it'll be fine with the screen.
and simulate. It looks like he's not doing anything. If you go and just lightly control, move him. He's in an anti-gravity environment.
It's like Homer eating chips in space, right?
But if you happen to flick him and let him go, he will just keep disappearing off the screen.
How do I get him back?
Just click on the simulate button at the top, to the right. Right. There, that one. That'll turn off. And then click it again to start. Yeah.
Confuse all my fucking life. Words inside our brain.
This is how you get a really close look.
So if we could do underwater things, yes, we'll put a sign on there.
Hey, good thing he's wearing underwear, right?
It's quite a cool little module with an Unreal to be able to simulate and visually see the
How
physics.
your characters move and
Yeah, and it helps you iron out, like there's nothing worse than shooting originally when you shot them. Yeah, you have to turn that off and turn it on again, just to get them back to the start. So if you flick them fast enough like that, you'll probably see certain body parts will stretch.
yeah.
And that's just where the rotational inertia that you're applying is overcoming. It might be the joint between, say, a hand
Yeah.
capsule and a forearm capsule. It's
It comes
really-
like Rayman, then he's just got the hands on the body.
yeah.
They all detach.
You can even see his cape's flapping about. That's because
Yeah.
there's also a couple of small capsules just associated with the cape.
There you go. There you go.
All right, well, I guess we should probably wind up this stream, having done that. So thanks to everybody for participating today. Thanks, Lincoln, for showing us the building of the start area.
Randall.
Randall.
I was just going to go
Randy.
for Melanie. Thanks, Melanie, for dropping in. Yeah, great to have you on the show. So as we mentioned earlier, if you're in Christchurch, we'll be at Armageddon on the 6th, so showing off where we've got to with this game.
And
try
they'll
and
be able to
lean
put
further in.
the VR gear on and try it.
Yeah, you'll be able to actually have a go in VR. That'll be a pretty interesting day. We are streaming again tomorrow at 1 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. That's UTC 1 a.m. So wherever you fit in there, be up at the appropriate time. I know if you're in Sweden, you need to be up at 3 a.m.
And
Sorry about that.
Tomorrow's stream, if we're doing my stuff, it'll probably be that physics stuff.
Yeah, so
Going in
tomorrow's
more
stream,
depth.
it'll actually be on the physics, how we actually overcame the physics. So how we went from the jelly or rubber chicken mode to actual constrained physics. So we'll see you then. So bye for now, everybody. And it'll be 6 seconds by the time I actually find your... Oh, there's the button. I was watching the thing zooming on that screen, trying to grab the cursor on that
Just used to
screen.
it as well.
Yeah.